Happy New Year! Welcome to 2021. I decided to treat myself this year and get decorative pillows for my daybed. Huh? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. I think I may have bought too many decorative pillows. Whatever. Mulan, the animated one from 1997. Mulan is a Disney film about a Chinese woman. You know what? Let me clarify what I mean by Chinese. The movie is Chinese like Panda Express is Chinese. There's some Chinese on the horizon, but it's been through an Occidental sieve, so let's take that shit into account. Disney's been known for being real loosey-goosey with the cultures. I remember watching Aladdin and being like, is that India? The Middle East? Maybe a little both? Ooh, I remember the original lyrics to one of the songs in Aladdin called Arabian Nights, where there was an outcry and they had to change those lyrics. The later versions had, oh, I come from a land, from a faraway place, where the caravan camels roam, where it's flat and immense and the heat is intense, it's barbaric, but hey, it's home. But when I saw it in the theater, the original was, where they cut off your ear if they don't like your face. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. Disney! Known for their racial sensitivity since never. I always get a kick out of the people at Disney trying to do and be better and not doing or being better at all. So while the lead is voiced by Ming-Na Wen, her singing voice is done by Lea Salonga, Filipino. And while another major character is voiced by B.D. Wong, his singing voice is Donny Osmond, who, you know, if you cut him, does he not bleed? Mayonnaise. George Takei is in this, Japanese. And Pat Morita, Japanese. And Soon Taek Oh, Korean. You can really feel Disney trying. I recently found out that Frank Welker is in this as well. If you don't know who Frank Welker is, you should. Frank Welker is the voice actor. He's voiced a million characters you know and love and are familiar with, but he's most famous for voicing things. Animal, vegetable, mineral things. I looked through his IMDb, he has 859 credits. And he is not dead. He will surpass 1,000. I feel like Frank Welker has some dirt on some super up person in the film industry that could bring the whole industry down as a whole. Hey, you got a tree stump in your movie? Does it creak at any point? You might need Frank Welker to make that sound for you. Otherwise, I send the folder to the cops. Not the point. Mulan starts at the Great Wall of China. This is supposed to be taking place in ancient China, like 600 AD, but because it's got so much modern lingo and mannerisms, it's hard to tell. Grappling hooks fly over the side of the Great Wall because the Huns are here. They're the antagonists of the film, specifically their leader, Shan Yu. He is a gloriously drawn bad guy. He has real prominent eye teeth that look like fangs. His skin is gray. His eyebrows are on fleek. Cheekbones for days. The irises of his eyes are yellow, and my favorite part, the whites of his eyes are dark blue. Plus, he's voiced by Miguel Ferrer, who sounds like Alec Baldwin on steroids. Every time I try to do an Alec Baldwin impression right here, it ends up sounding like Yoda, so I'm just not gonna. We all have limits to our skills. Now, I thought it was the Mongols who attacked the Great Wall of China in this film, and I didn't know the difference between the Mongols and the Huns, so I looked it up. I found out it's complicated, so we're not gonna talk about that. Unless you feel like sitting here listening to me describe horse-riding nomadic tribes from Central Asia for 10 minutes. I'm gonna guess you don't. The guard at the Great Wall lights a bunch of fires. Now all of China knows you're here. And we're off. We meet Mulan. She's cramming for something. She writes some cheat notes on her forearm. She realizes she's late to whatever she's studying for. She busts out of there and heads off on her very handsome horse. In this scene, we're a whole 5 minutes into this movie. We hear the first uttering of the word honor. Fun drinking game. Take a shot every time they say honor. You will be hammered briskly. Mulan arrives at the place that she's rushing to get to. It's the matchmaker. We are informed that if she doesn't present herself in the best light, she won't get married and she won't bring her family honor. They kind of polish her up as best they can. They sing a song which reinforces that a woman's only value is bearing sons. They call her a cultured pearl and a porcelain doll. It's been established that Mulan is a shrewd sort of tomboy, which is not going to work in her favor. The grandma shoves a lucky cricket into Mulan's dress, and Mulan does her best to be demure and feminine. She does not succeed. She smears her forearm notes onto the matchmaker's face, basically giving her an ink goatee. The cricket jumps into the matchmaker's bosom, which causes her to freak out and sit on a stove. And then her ass catches on fire and Mulan has to throw tea in her face to put her out. So yeah, Mulan is told she is a disappointment and will never bring her family honor. Dejected Mulan goes home on her very handsome horse and sings her song called Reflection, a song that the gay community has really taken as their own because it talks about trying to fit into a mold and hiding your true self to avoid breaking your your family's heart, and it has the line, "When will my reflection show who I am inside?" Hearing it with that in mind does make it extra poignant. The government arrives. They say the Huns are now in China, and one man from every family will be drafted into the military. The sons volunteer for their fathers, but Mulan is an only child, so her father, who is old and has a substantial limp, has to go. She freaks out, and everyone's like, "What's up with that woman saying words? Why isn't she making me a sandwich?" So in the night, Mulan cuts her hair and takes her father's suit of armor and leaves on her very handsome horse to join the army in his stead. Some kick-ass synth music plays during the sequence. It sounds like a cut from the Flashdance soundtrack, and I ain't mad about it. Mulan's grandma asks the ancestors to protect her, and the ancestors come to life. This is my favorite bit of animation. They come out of their stones in swirly, sparkly smoke tendrils. It lasts 2 seconds and no one else cares, but I get psyched up every time. Someday I will find an animated gif of it and end up dying of dehydration, staring at it unendingly like Narcissus in the lake. Greek mythology, people, look it up! My other favorite animation element is throughout, and it's anytime there's a cloud or dust or smoke. It's rendered like it would be in traditional Chinese ink drawings. We meet Mushu the dragon. That name. Who is voiced by Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is fantastic, despite being an odd choice for a film about ancient China. I'm not really going to get into Mushu because I'd have to explain a lot of the jokes that he makes, and nothing kills a joke faster than having someone explain it. But wait, I forgot to tell you the best part of this. Where are you going? Trust me though, he's a fun character. Mushu is a little scrawny dragon who was demoted for doing a craptacular job and getting Mulan's great uncle beheaded. The ancestors pick which of the family guardians to send to protect Mulan. But Mushu goes instead, because if he comes back and Mulan is a hero, he could be a big old dragon again. Mushu takes the lucky cricket, who is voiced by Frank Welker. You got a cricket in this here movie? Does it rub its leg on its abdomen? And we end up at the army base. Men are portrayed as super gross. One is rooting around in his nostril, one is picking between his toes with his chopsticks. Mulan does her best to fit in. She's horking snot, trying to spit it. Doesn't go well. Harvey Fierstein voices one of the other men in the camp. He makes no attempt to cover up his New York accent, and it's a delight. Their hot captain begins their training and sings my favorite song in the movie. Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. Did they send me daughters while I asked for sons? Be a man at the river beyond, and the force of a great typhoon. Be a man. I can show you the world. Shining, shimmering, splendid. I can open your eyes. So these new recruits are going through boot camp. The first task they have to accomplish is climbing a pole. It looks like a telephone pole with weights hanging from their wrists. All of them fail epically. They try to fire arrows. They try to balance water buckets on their heads. They run for miles. They are all terrible, but Mulan is the worst. So right when Hot Captain is about to send her home. By the way, Hot Captain is shirtless throughout this entire training montage, and I can only imagine the tween girls who felt an awakening from this character. Shit, I was already in college and I was like, am I into 7th century Chinese officers singing with Donny Osmond's voice? I think I am. Mulan is the first one to figure out how to climb the telephone pole with weights on her wrists by using the weights as an assistant rather than a hindrance, because she's shrewd as hell. That turns everything around. The soldiers get their act together. They're setting off rudimentary cannons. They're dodging bullets. They're grabbing fish out of the water. They are as ready as they're going to be to go to the front. Oh, Mulan bathes in a lake because she cares about her hygiene, and some of the dudes show up. She's got to flee because, you know, parts. She says, I never want to see another naked man again. And as she says that, the rest of her unit runs past her to go swimming and they're all nude. We only see them from the waist up, but I can only imagine the plethora of dicks and balls bing bang bongling around as they go past her. I saw that at Burning Man, and it's much. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with anything here, but I wanted to mention that the backgrounds of the scenes in the Chinese countryside are lush, and I want to draw attention to it. Background painters, you don't think anybody notices you, but I do. I see you and I acknowledge you. Now Mulan's portion of the army is off to war. They sing a jaunty marching song about what they're looking for in a wife, and not surprisingly, it's never, I want a woman who can engage in thoughtful debate about major issues facing us in this unprecedented time. It's all, she needs to be able to cook and clean. Mulan is not feeling this song at all. Then they get to a village and the song cuts off mid-verse. There are no more songs in this movie because shit ceases to be wacky and it turns into Saving Private Ryan. I can't think of another Disney film where they just stop singing because it gets real. I think it's a cool touch. The village they've arrived to is destroyed. It's burnt to the ground. They look for other soldiers. They go over a ridge and, listen to this, the ground is littered with bodies. They make them kind of soft focus, but if you're paying attention, there are limbs and helmets. They are clearly dead people. So now they're the only thing between the Emperor and the Huns, which means the Huns win all of China. Hooray! No, it means that they meet up with the Huns in a snow-covered valley, and this is some cutting-edge computer effects for when this movie was made. The Huns are at the top edge of the cliff, and they all come barreling down on their horses. Now, instead of them all coming down like this, a program was written, and each Hun moves in his own distinct way, so now they come down like this. I know this is probably used in every video game now, and it's old-timey bullshit, but every time I see it, epic music plays. Hundreds of Huns plow down the hillside briskly while yelling. Your stomach drops. The Chinese army is down to one cannon. They're all about to die with honor. Then Mulan grabs it and fires it at the mountain. They're all like, what the fuck are you doing? But it ends up causing a major avalanche because our girl is smart. The Huns get buried in the snow and are presumed dead and conquered. But during the melee, Mulan gets a substantial sword wound right here, which is awfully close to the shame lumps. She passes out, but when she comes to, the army doctor has fixed her up and everyone knows she's a girl. The hot captain decides not to kill her for treason, but he leaves her there on the mountain, and they go to the imperial city because they defeated the Huns, right? It's time to celebrate. While Mulan is gently freezing to death, Mushu confesses that he's only there to get back in the good graces of the ancestors. The cricket confesses he's not lucky. Everybody sharing truths. And that's when Mushu sees 6 Huns emerge from the snow like frosty zombies. One of them is the leader, Shan Yu. And those remaining Huns are headed to the imperial city to kill the emperor. So Mulan jumps on her very handsome horse and books it down there. Everyone in the imperial city is celebrating because the Huns are vanquished. There's a big parade with the hot captain and her fellow soldiers. And even though all the spectators are cheering, the soldiers are bummed because they liked Mulan. Mulan shows up, but she's not covering up her womaniness anymore. So when she says the Huns are coming, no one believes her. She's right, of course, the Huns are totally there. They are hiding in a giant dancing lion costume because this is Disney's China and we have to hit certain points. And a giant dancing lion costume is one of them. The Huns pop out and they grab the emperor and take him hostage with the intent to kill him. The hot captain and a bunch of his troops are fighting them, but they're not getting anything accomplished. So Mulan comes up with a solution and they listen to her, even though guys, I'm leaving out a ton of times they grind that man-woman value system into you. Part of Mulan's plan is to get Harvey and the gang to dress up as women. The old flipperoo! The soldiers use their feminine wiles to get past the Hun guards. It's a great line here. Who's there? Concubines. Ugly concubines. They hit the guards with martial arts and fruit that they used as their boobs. Hey, got the job done. Now they have access to the palace and they can rescue the emperor. Mulan has to face off with the final boss, Shan Yu, because Hot Captain was knocked unconscious. Mulan is like 1/3 the size of Shan Yu, so her wily strategic skills need to come out full force. She whacks Shan Yu with a chancla, uses a folding fan to take Shan Yu's sword away, which by the way, you can actually do if you know martial arts. You can disarm someone with a sword using a folding fan. Then she uses Shan Yu's sword to pin his cape to the roof. What did we learn from The Incredibles? Never wear a cape. Looks cool, but is a liability. Mushu, the little dragon, lights a massive amount of fireworks because it's Disney's China and we're ticking that box. The fireworks shoot into Shan Yu's midsection, blow up. Possibly the most festive demise ever. Mulan saves the emperor and China, y'all. The emperor's like, maybe we need to change our attitude about women. Maybe they're more than just property. The emperor gives Mulan the medallion around his neck and Shan Yu's sword. She bids farewell to her fellow soldier friends. The hot captain shows he has caught some feels for Mulan, but can't articulate it because women. And she goes back home. Mulan shows up and gives her father Shan Yu's sword and the emperor's medallion, but he's just happy that she's home. The hot captain arrives at her house and is invited to stay for dinner, which could lead to some hanky-panky. Possibly with Grandma, because she makes it crystal clear that she thinks that the hot captain is a fine piece of ass. And because Mushu did an excellent job protecting Mulan, he becomes a guardian again. Music plays, the ancestor ghosts dance, the end. Stevie Wonder sings over the credits, so if you're a fan, you should stick around for that. This is one of my top Disney movies. Highly recommended. And even though we're starting off rough with the beginning of 2021, I hope it's a good year for all of you.